I held her the moment she was born. Tiny fingers wrapped around mine. Now, 32 years later, she pointed at the door and screamed, "Pay the rent or get out!" That day, I realized I didn't have a daughter anymore. I had a landlord. My name is Walter, and I'm 68 years old. I'm not a rich man, not a scholar, just a father. A father who raised his daughter with whatever love and bread I had. After my wife passed away from cancer 10 years ago, my only reason to live was Emily, my daughter. I sold my truck to put her through college, skipped meals so she could eat. I worked 2 jobs, security guard at night, janitor in the morning. Also, my little girl could grow up with dignity. And she did. She became a lawyer, moved to the city, got married. I was proud of her. Then, 2 years ago, Emily called me after her divorce. "Dad," she said crying, "I'm coming back home for a while." I said nothing but joyfully cleaned her old room, changed the bedsheets, and even baked her favorite lemon pie. But a while turned into 2 years. Last week, while I was heating leftover soup, Emily came to the kitchen with a paper in her hand. "Dad," she said coldly, "this is the utility bill. You either start paying half the rent, or you need to find another place to live." I thought it was a joke. I chuckled. "Emily, this is my house." She didn't blink. "You signed the papers over to me when you refinanced the mortgage 2 years ago. You remember?" I did. When she needed credit to rebuild her life, I co-signed. I didn't realize the house title would change. "You're 68, she said. "I have my own life now. I can't afford to carry your weight anymore. You either contribute or get out." That night, I didn't eat. I sat alone in the backyard next to the bird feeder I made when she was 12. The next morning, I quietly made her breakfast like I always did. 2 eggs, no salt, just how she likes them. But she didn't eat. She left the plate untouched and walked past me like I was air. I cleaned the table and stared at the photo on the wall. A picture of us from when she was 5, sitting on my shoulders, her little hands holding my bald head. That evening I went into my room, opened an old wooden box, and pulled out my savings. $2,131, that's all I had left. I walked into the living room. She was on her phone, laughing. "Emily," I said softly, "I'll start paying rent, but give me a week to sort things." She rolled her eyes. "I'm not running a charity." "Dad, just don't make this harder than it already is." That night I sat in the darkness and something inside me cracked. This house, every nail, every brick, was built with my sweat. I painted these walls when she was born. I carried her through these halls when she had nightmares. I held her when she cried over her first heartbreak right there on that porch. And now, I was being told to pay to stay in my own memories. The next morning, I called a real estate agent. "Hi, I'd like to sell a house," I said. Within 24 hours, the agent visited, took pictures, and said, "This could sell quickly, sir. It's in great shape." I didn't tell Emily. 3 days later, I received a cash offer from a retired couple looking to downsize. I signed the papers. That evening, as Emily came home, I was sitting with a cup of tea. "Dad, I need you to move out by Friday," she said, not making eye contact. I nodded. "Sure," I replied calmly. She looked surprised, maybe expecting a fight. But I just smiled. "Oh, and Emily, someone's coming to see the house tomorrow." What do you mean?" she asked, finally turning to me. "The house," I said, sipping my tea. "I sold it." Her face turned pale. "You what?" "I sold the house, sweetheart. It closes on Friday." "But you gave me the deed." "You see, I may have signed the deed, but I also kept a clause. It was still jointly owned. You never checked the fine print." Silence. "You said you couldn't afford to carry my weight," I added, standing up. "So I decided to carry myself and let go of the house that carries you." Emily stood frozen. Her lips trembled, but she couldn't speak. She looked around the house like she was seeing it for the first time, not as a home, but as something fragile, fading. "You can't do this," she finally whispered. I gently placed the teacup down. "I already did." "But where will I go?" she asked, tears finally forming. "Maybe you should ask yourself what you asked me last week. Is that my problem?" She broke. Her strong, bitter front collapsed like a house of cards. "I didn't mean it, Dad. I was just frustrated. You were more than frustrated, Emily. You were cruel. You didn't speak to me like a daughter. You spoke to me like I was a burden." She collapsed onto the couch, the same couch where we used to watch Sunday morning cartoons together. "You never complained before. I thought maybe you were okay." "I was never okay," I said. "I just didn't want to add to your worries. But that was my mistake. I made life too easy for you." Her face, once so familiar to me, now carried a trace of guilt and something else, realization. "Where will you go?" she asked. I smiled softly. "To a small apartment across town. Peaceful, quiet, and mine." She wiped her eyes. "Can I come with you?" "You're always welcome in my heart, Emily. But sometimes distance teaches us what closeness blinded us to." The next morning I packed only what mattered: a photo of her as a child, my wife's wedding ring, and the old worn sweater she knit before she passed. Emily didn't say much as the buyers arrived. She just watched me from the doorway, her eyes red, her arms folded tight. As I walked out of the house one last time, I turned to her and said, "I didn't sell the house to hurt you. I sold it to save myself." And with that, I left. A week passed. One morning, I found a letter under my apartment door. No stamp, no envelope. Just folded paper. It read, "Dad, I'm sorry. I forgot who raised me, who sacrificed for me. You gave me everything and I made you feel like nothing. If you'll let me, I want to come home. Wherever you are is home to me now." I folded the note and smiled through tears. Sometimes a house has to fall apart for a family to come back together.